As you're talking to that, it made me think about one of my favorite expressions, which is that the longest journey in this world is actually the journey from the head to the heart, right? And what I mean by that, it's actually learning to filter the ideas that you have, to not be attached to specific mechanism or product, and be willing to adapt it. As an author, they call it, a friend of mine taught me years ago, be willing to let go of your babies and edit out some of the content you want if it doesn't serve the purpose. And it's the same with the business. We can get so attached to the idea. That's what you're describing. We're going to learn to filter that from the journey from the head to the heart and be really a bit more real with ourselves. Does that sound pretty much what you've been describing?
The challenge you're describing there is a universal truth, because the reality is, as a business owner, I haven't seen one successful business yet that doesn't have a level of passion and almost unreasonable logic that you apply to that risk assessment of what your business means. I think if any of us are going to be honest with ourselves, there's the obstacles in your way to creating a successful business are vast and varied. And it requires that unreasonable expectation on yourself and your abilities to be able to push through that, which requires that passion and connection back to what you're trying to achieve. If you get stuck in that world, you tend to then forget the other pieces that sit around that, which without the combination of the two is impossible to offer tangible value.
You've created several businesses yourselves in the past, and so you've got that entrepreneurial mindset yourself. What have been a couple of valuable lessons you learned the hard way yourself you pass on? What are a couple of things either about yourself or about the process of building something out that you learned on those journeys?
So you mentioned the word successful there in that description. I will sort of put the footnote that not everything's successful, but in a hindsight sort of romantic storytelling piece, we only tell the stories of success and not the ones of failure. So having gone through both cycles before myself, I think the appreciation you get for scaling a business is something that only happens in the later stages. So coming up with an idea, and I guess that honeymoon period of what a business looks like is the most exciting time. It is the honeymoon stage where you don't have rules, you don't have things constricting what you can do. You can be anything and you can do anything, and it's an exciting space to live in for a while. But at some point, if you then offer something back that requires that ability to scale, you're going to need skill sets beyond your own. And I think there's the way that I have always tried to approach that before is that I try and absorb myself with as much conversant knowledge in the areas that are naturally my skill set, but I recognize that my ability to be able to deliver on those within the business are not going to be as advanced as somebody who has been doing that for years. So when it requires that vision to version path, the vision piece should be wholly your own, that you then take into the assessment of, is it actually a tangible business that I can offer value back to the market? And then recognizing that in order to grow that, you're going to need additional skill sets on there that you need to, at the very least, have a conversant understanding of. You don't go to a marketer and allow them to be able to control complete direction of what you're doing. You need to know what you want to achieve to be able to get the best out of them. So educate yourself enough to have a conversant knowledge, but recognize that, is it the best area to dedicate your time to? Is it the best area to be able to effectively take your eye off the ball in the areas that you do know you do well, in order to be able to try and do that other piece of your business? So scaling a business in a way that embraces skill sets beyond your own is a difficult part, especially when you're talking about the inner value of sort of ego and the idea I can do anything. I remind all of our startups that if you try and be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to no one.
Yeah.